And thank you for joining us on this Thursday for our press briefing. Today, Orange County Mayor Jerry L. Demings will discuss safety at the polls as you go out and vote and some details on voting numbers. The mayor will also discuss our COVID-19 numbers and positivity rates, give an update on CARES funding for individuals and families, and report on the work of our strike teams and the eviction diversion program. Orlando Mayor Buddy Dyer is here to discuss the latest in the city to combat the coronavirus. And from the Florida Department of Health in Orange County, Dr. Raul Pino is here with important updates on COVID-19 trending and other data in our area. We begin with Mayor Demings. Mayor?
All right, thank you, Dr. Williamson. Thank you to all of you for being here this afternoon. We have had quite the week so far as we have started the early voting here within Orange County. I want to remind everyone that we are just 12 days away from Election Day. Can you believe it? Just 12 days away. I was able to cast my ballot yesterday at the Amway Center in a safe and socially distant manner. So checking in with the state numbers regarding voting so far, it is interesting to note that the majority of Florida's electorate are voting by mail during this pandemic. That holds true here within Orange County. Orange County has so far had 169,000 plus individuals who have voted by mail compared to 64,000 who have voted in person. When we look within the state of Florida, over 3 million people have voted by mail so far to 1 million who have gone to the various polling places. So it's roughly 3-to-1 for the state and 3-to-1 for our county. I won't get into the specific numbers, but what we will say to everyone is to please vote in the safest manner that works for you, but vote. Now I'll transition. I'll talk a little bit about the virus. As for the total number of COVID-19 cases in Orange County, we have now surpassed 44,000 cases in our county. That is an increase of 317 cases reported since yesterday. Now, Dr. Pino, that's probably one of the largest single-day increases in several weeks, and perhaps Dr. Pino will talk more about that in a few moments. The Florida Department of Health reports that 532 Orange County residents have died as a result of the coronavirus. That's an increase of 1 since we spoke on Monday. So while it is 1, it's sadly it's still one family that had to experience a death within our community related to this virus. Our 2-week positivity average has risen from 5.0% last Friday to 5.6% today. Slight increase. Orange County Health Services will continue to be providing testing next week. We'll be at Barnett Park on Wednesday, October the 28th, and Thursday, October the 29th, between the hours of 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can make an appointment if you're 12 years or old and older by going to our website at ocfl.net/Barnett Park. Through our testing sites, the results will usually come back within 48 hours. But for those who go to the state testing site at the Orange County Convention Center, now they offer rapid antigen testing, and the results are available in about 15 minutes. So if you want quick results, you can go to the Convention Center. It's my understanding they're doing the rapid testing as well as the normal PCR testing. Online appointments are encouraged, however. You can be certain to take your insurance cards. If you have them, the tests do remain free, but they're documenting the insurance carriers. You can schedule the testing by visiting ocfl.net/testing and click on number 1 on the testing map for other details. I want to remind everyone that this Saturday, in 2 days, at 8 a.m., we will reopen the CARES portal for individuals and families to apply for $1,000 grants. I just suggest that you prepare your documents now. Those who applied last week should receive an email with the status of their application by tomorrow. If there were any issues with documentation, residents must reapply on Saturday in 2 days. There will be a 15,000 user limit on the portal. Once you are in the portal, make sure to take your time and upload your information and documents correctly. The portal will be open until 4 p.m. on Saturday. So once you get into the portal, take your time and make sure you get all the documents submitted. It is very important that you make sure that your address on the application matches your photo ID. So the address on the application must match your photo ID. This really allows us to reduce the potential for fraud. Our CARES team has told us many of the issues right now have to do with wrong address documentation. And so we do have some of our staff, Ms. Diane Arnold is here if you have any specific questions about the process. Also, as a reminder, if anyone living at a particular address has already received the $1,000, then the other persons living at that same address would be disqualified. I encourage anyone interested in applying to go to ocfl.net/orangecares and read the frequently asked questions to get familiar with the guidelines and the documents that are required. Our strike teams are continuing to move throughout the county, offering assistance to county businesses by helping them with workplace guidance and procedures. The teams will continue their unannounced visits this weekend. The teams found the majority of businesses that have been visited, over 3,800 at this point, have been receptive and in compliance. The overall compliance rate, including for those that have been re-inspected, is 97%. So that's pretty good for our community. In terms of eviction diversion, we launched that program in late August, and we still have nearly $13 million available to help landlords and tenants. So far, this innovative program has helped nearly 700 families avoid being evicted. Over $2.1 million has been allocated to rent payments, and those approvals have been submitted to the Comptroller's Office for payment. But quite frankly, we would like to see more applications for the eviction diversion program. Remember, this is a program where both the landlord and tenant must jointly apply for the relief. Today, I want to recognize Mr. Chris Bright, if you would stand, sir, who is the owner of Best Orlando Property Management. He's one of the landlords that have been working with his tenants to get access to these dollars. So at the conclusion of the press event today, he will be available to those of you in the media if you want to do any one-on-ones with him to just ask how the process has worked. His company operates in multiple counties, and so he has something to compare it to in terms of the process that we have put in place here within Orange County. Thank you, Mr. Bright, for being here today. And lastly, if you want any assistance regarding eviction diversion, you can go to our website at ocfl.net/eviction diversion for more information. And I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Buddy Dyer at this time.
Thank you, Mayor Demings. As we continue this long fight with COVID-19, we must remember who we're fighting for, and we must remain diligent in our actions and our compassion towards others. These are unprecedented times, and we're all feeling a little bit of virus fatigue, I think. But we must not let that set in. We must continue to work together to slow the spread in our community. Each of us has the power to do that. We know what we need to do. We need to wear our mask. It's not political. We need to social distance, and we need to wash our hands. Continuing to practice our pandemic precautions every single day, every single time we go out, every time we interact with others will help us get through this. Part of continuing to live with the virus and ensuring public health also means supporting our local businesses to further our economic health in our community. So with that said, it's important that all of us continue to support our small businesses where we're able to do that. They're vital in so many ways, providing jobs, economic opportunities to countless of our residents. Additionally, as a city, we continue to do everything that we can to help our local businesses during this time. So earlier this month, we approved the Downtown CRA's Small Business Assistance Program to provide downtown retail and consumer service businesses a rent subsidy up to $5,000 per month. Downtown businesses have been especially impacted by the pandemic because of the lack of daytime workforce, cancellation of events, lengthy closures of our nighttime economy. So we hope this program will help our downtown businesses weather the storm. To help businesses prepare to take advantage of the program, which opens for applications on November the 4th, we're hosting a webinar with the Orlando Economic Partnership on Wednesday, October 28th at 10 a.m. And you can sign up for that by visiting downtownorlando.com. Regarding testing, we are continuing our efforts. We'll be back at Camping World Stadium this coming Wednesday, October 28th from 9 to 1. You can make a reservation there at orlando.gov/COVID-19 testing. And as Mayor Deming said, I encourage everybody to have a plan on how they're going to vote. You can certainly vote on Election Day, but I would encourage anybody that has the ability to early vote or to make sure that they get their ballot in the mail early. Thank you. Dr. Pino.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. As the Mayor mentioned, we have 44,535 positive cases. Our recovery rate continued to be 95. And the oldest person to die from COVID-19 in Orange County was 110. So that's an interesting fact. Recent reported death. Also, since we talked to you last, 2 deaths have been reported to the state, 70 and 80 to 84 years old range, 1 male, 1 female, both whites, and both 1 Hispanic and 1 non-Hispanic. But just for your information, these 2 deaths, one is from July and the other one is from August. So no recent death has been reported to the state. Mayor Demings also mentioned that we have seen a moderate increase in positivity rate. It's really very small, but the fact that the last 3 days we have not seen up and down, all that we have seen is up. In the last 3 days is cause for concern. And I really want to encourage our community to take this seriously, even when we are in such a good shape and continue to be. And also, I want to discourage parents from having birthday parties for kids, no matter how many. And if you are going to have a party that is impossible to have later on when we have the vaccine, when we have better treatment, if that party cannot wait until we have a better situation and not placing people at risk, please take steps to protect everyone that you invite into your premises. And also keep in mind that those parties not only will affect the people that are participating in the activity, but also everyone else that they become in contact with when they, if the case is that they were to become positive. We have a recent birthday party on Avalon Park on 10/10. 30 people attended. It was a Sweet 16. 50% of those who participated converted into positive cases. That's a very high rate. And people have to be conscious. I'm absolutely sure that no one wants this to happen. But it will happen. It continues to be out in the community, and we will continue to see the consequences if we don't act super responsible. It's not just responsible, super responsible. Yesterday, we received 370 cases, positive cases, that is. That's probably one of the largest numbers in the last 2 weeks that we have received, besides when we got some data dumps. And the median age is 31, continues to be young. And we explained to you the characteristic of a young pandemic based on how active people of younger age tend to be regarding to parties and, bars and social activity, which is understandable. So also yesterday, we got reported 4,724 negative tests, and that gave us a 6.29% positivity rate. Just to give you where our concerns are, yesterday was 6.2. Before yesterday, on the 20th, was 5.6. On the 19th was 6.7, and on the 18th was 6.6. The priors there before that, all but 1 day that we received a data dump, all hovering around 5%. So there's a very slow creeping of the virus in our community, and we have to be mindful. This was expected, as I mentioned to you before, as we increase social activity. This will happen, but the reason why we insist to keep it around 5 is because with those numbers, we have the capacity to track and trace everyone. And that's what's keeping the pandemic under control. The efforts that the tracers and investigators are doing by isolating and quarantining everyone that we suspected or have a confirmation that they have a positive test. And it's important to continue to do that. But if we get overwhelmed by high numbers, then it becomes a vicious cycle. By not being able to do the trace and investigation, then you get more cases. And by getting more cases, you get behind and behind and behind. So with that, I will open for questions and give it to the Mayor Demings.
All right, just as a reminder, if we have any Spanish-speaking media here, we have the ability to communicate with you in Spanish. Dr. Pino is fluent. We also have Commissioner Gomez-Cordero, who has joined us, and if there are any questions for myself or Mayor Dyer, we would get Ms. Ilia Torres to come up and to interpret in Spanish. So with that, we'll open it up for any questions.
Lauren Seabrook, Channel 9. My question's for Dr. Pino.
She's predictable, Doc.
Let's hope that she's kind.
I wanted to ask you a little bit more about the birthday parties, if you're seeing more of these types of situations. And also, I've started to see on social media a lot of people who are saying because there's no trick-or-treating that may be going on, people are starting to plan block parties. Is that worse in this situation?
Yeah. Well, I haven't heard about the block parties, but that will be a no. With the birthday parties, so what we have seen, not just birthday party, but when we congregate, this is what happened. When you have a smaller groups, if the virus gets into the group, let's say you have 10 people, you will get 5 people infected. If we compare it to the last situation that I mentioned. And that's, 50% is a high number. But it is also what happened after someone contracts this and go back to the community. What happened when students go back to school? Because the number of people exposed then exponentially increase. And you don't know who may have got it because you have to wait 14 days. And we also have we have the responsibility and the desire to protect ourselves, but we also have a social responsibility to protect others and to avoid unnecessary quarantine and isolation that could be otherwise avoided.
Dr. Pino, Ryan Gillespie at the Orlando Sentinel. I know you mentioned kind of seeing a moderate increase in cases this week or positivity rates. Is there anything in that data with what we've seen around the country with cases going up that hints that this is going to be a trend that continues in the coming days and weeks, or is it kind of too soon to know?
So when the schools opened, to be totally honest, we thought that even with all the steps that this board have taken, there could be an issue, and there have not been issues with the schools. Although we have community-acquired cases, and the board and us have worked very closely to avoid transmission into the schools. But it is out in the community. The highest percentage-wise of people affected by age are 15 to 35. Those are very socially active people. You know, those are the people who are employed, the single people, and the younger. And even when you take and look at the 15 to 35, 75% in that group are 18 to 28. So we can even narrow it down even more to either younger adults who are in college age, or younger adults who are seniors in high school, if they are in high school. So those are the concerns that we have. That is a young population, very socially active, and it will inevitably move into the older segment of the population, people who assist in living facility with pre-existing condition, over 65 in a closed environment. And that's our major concern when it gets there. Because as you probably will see in the data, 75% of our death, and this is just from the top of my head, are people who are 65 years and older.
Doctor Pino, Michelle, feliz Telemundo aquí. Sabemos que los casos siguen saliendo positivos y hay un aumento significativo también en los últimos días. Pero al mismo tiempo hay muchas personas y son menos las personas que se están haciendo las pruebas de coronavirus. ¿A qué usted cree que esto se debe?
The question in Spanish was, even with the number of positive cases continue to increase slowly, we have heard reports that the number of people doing the testing has decreased. What is the reason for that? So, yo no sé cuál es la razón, ¿verdad? Yo pienso que parte del problema está en que las personas están yendo a trabajar, se están incorporando al trabajo. Y entonces, pues, se ocupan, ¿sabes?, en las cosas diarias de la casa, del hogar y de los muchachos. La escuela también empezó. Y también está el factor de que la economía y la pandemia están mucho mejor en el condado. Tal vez las personas se sienten a un riesgo menor y por eso deciden no hacerse la prueba. También, si estamos en las personas más jóvenes, pues muchos son asintomáticos, no sienten nada, entonces no van al médico. Their answer in English was that although it's true, it could be a multiplicity of factors. One is people are returning to the economy, so they have less time to go and get tested and be online. And second, social activity has increased in the sense of, you know, the kids, the sports, other activities. And also, could be that because it's in a younger segment of the population, the percentage of people who are asymptomatic is a lot higher. And if you don't feel the need, you don't feel at risk or don't feel sick, you will not go for a test normally.
Chris Guardaro, West News. This question is also for Dr. Pino. I just wanted to ask Dr. Pino, is there a particular reason why birthday parties might be a little bit more threatening? Does it have to do with the multi-generational factors with those type of party as opposed to other types of gatherings?
I think because it's a party, in the sense that, you know, people are there to enjoy each other, to get closer, to sing, to drink, if they are in age, and I hope those who drank were, if they did. And also the fact that is normally those activities are held in very close quarters. So activities outside with open space and social distancing have proven to be a lot less risky than those activities. And you can compare, for example, we already have soccer games, and those are thousands of people, but steps has been taken. UCF has football games, but steps have been taken. Outside, social distancing, egress, how people come in, how do people go out. So you will be surprised how much detailing goes into try to prevent the spread of the virus, like making a decision where people are going to park, how they are going to come in, and they are going to get out of a building or a venue where a celebration may happen.
I just have a quick follow-up question about the birthday party you referenced earlier. What part of Orange County did you say that was in?
Avalon Park.
Okay, and wait, sorry, I have a question for the mayors, if that's okay. I was wondering, today we got some news from some of our federal lawmakers about dollars going to Orange County Sheriff's Office and OPD to hire additional officers to do community policing. Would you be able to comment on that impact on the community?
Obviously, public safety is important to all of us. That's the fundamental reason that government exists. So each year through the federal government, we are the recipients as a county for various funds to support law enforcement and our fire services here within the community. So this year is no different. So we have expected that those dollars will come. And so it helps us to offset, as we are a growing community. It was estimated at one time we were growing by a net of nearly 1,000 new residents each week. And so when you're growing that rapidly, you have to grow your public safety personnel in order to make certain that you have response times that are appropriate. And so we're glad to be recipients of that. And we thank our members of Congress who continue to lobby within Washington, D.C. to make certain that we get our fair share of those dollars back into our community.
This next question was texted in for Mayor Dyer. This is from Ryan Lynch in the Orlando Business Journal. Mayor Dyer, has the city got a count on how many customer service businesses or customer service business have used the CRA support program so far? Any update you can provide?
So that won't go live until November 4th, the day after. You can go ahead and get the paperwork and the applications, and I mentioned earlier that we're going to have a webinar prior to that, but the actual applications won't be until November the 4th.
Okay, it appears we don't have any other questions. I see Scott Howard from the Orange County Public Schools here. I'll point him out. And also Ms. Diane Arnold, who helps to administer our Individual and Families CARES Act funding. So if you have any questions after this for one-on-ones, we have different individuals who are present that can answer those questions. Thank you all for being here, and we hope you have a wonderful weekend.